Welcome back to Book Club, where we discuss your favorite classic novels and authors. Today's topic is on Russian literature in the 19th century, and I'm sure you theater kids are out there singing the opening to Letters from the Great Comet. And I have a couple authors that were widely requested by you guys. But first, why don't we get started with talking about some background information on literature back then. During the 1800s, the lower class in Russia had access to something called chapbook literature. Essentially, chapbooks were...
Someone was talking about chapbooks!
And you are?
Lev Tolstoy. The one and only.
But you're dead.
It's called Haunting. Have you never heard of it?
Well, I guess since you're here, might as well interview you.
Very well. Ask away.
We'd started talking about chapbooks, and it's well known that many of your works were chapbooks. Do you have anything to say about them?
Chapbooks were created for the lower class citizens of Moscow, and were often sold at Moscow's Nikolsky Market, the center of a chapbook industry in Russia.
And what about your experience with them?
In my completely correct and accurate opinion, I was, and still am not a fan of those wretched little books. It's like reading a baby book to one of my 14 children.
Wait. You had 14 children?
Not counting the multiple illegitimate children I had.
Okay, maybe we should just move on from the whole chapbook situation. Why don't you tell me about some of your works? I'm sure the people watching would love to hear from you. War and Peace is certainly your most popular novel, right?
Though many people enjoy the 1,225 pages of pure genius that my classic War and Peace is, I have many other works. Some of my more popular books include Anna Karenina, though it's often described by critics as a tough novel, The Death of Ivan Ilyich, and Resurrection. Many of my works were inspired by personal experience, if you weren't aware.
I wasn't, and that's very interesting. Have any other authors inspired your writing?
Indeed they have. In the summer of 1861, I went on an exploration to Europe and met the infamous Victor Hugo, author of Les Mis. I was sure to praise his unique literary talents, and the visit with Hugo himself shaped both my political and literary development.
Funny enough that both of them had their books turned into musicals. On another note, I had intended on talking about another famous author from 19th century Russia today.
If I'm no longer needed, I will just be going.
Okay then. Guess he's gone. As I was saying, another famous author from 19th century Russia was Fyodor Dostoevsky. You may have heard of him as the author of Crime and Punishment, a well-known novel.
Crime and Punishment? Crime and Punishment?
Yeah?
I wrote that!
So you mean to tell me that another ghost of a 19th century Russian author
I
is
prefer the term spirit.
What is going on today? Okay, well, I guess I'll interview you.
I'm honored.
Well, you're here. As we just said, you obviously wrote Crime and Punishment, but that wasn't your most popular book, was it?
Other than Crime and Punishment, I did happen to write multiple books as well. These works included The Idiot, Demons, and The Brothers Karamazov, though creating my works did come with a price.
Of course, I've heard that The Brothers Karamazov has been recognized as the greatest of your novels. But what do you mean by coming with a price?
To make money to support myself financially, I started translating books from different languages to earn extra money. On top of that, I joined a literary group that discussed banned books critical of Tsarist Russia. I was arrested in 1849, as well as sentenced to death. However, the sentence was reduced at the last minute. I ended up spending 4 years in a Siberian prison camp, followed by 6 years of compulsory military service in exile.
Geez, all that for translating books and joining a basically old-timey book club.
It was a fun book club, thank you very much. It helped me make money, though eventually meant nothing when I began traveling to Western Europe. I developed a gambling addiction and lost all my money. However, that became inspiration for yet another one of my critically acclaimed works, The Gambler.
Oh, have any of your other novels been inspired by your personal experiences?
A common theme within my novels is that I based many of my characters off of myself. Many of the characters and I share similar traits. They have personalities that complicate and contradict themselves, such as some believing in God and others proudly rejecting God. Some show vitality and zest for life, or others are suffering from epilepsy and have generally poor health.
It's evident that many of your works were affected by and affected your life, and your literature had also helped to inspire other writers of your time.
I helped influence a list of authors. Many world-renowned 20th century writers, such as Thomas Mann, Andre Gide, and Franz Kafka, have publicly acknowledged their indebtedness to me.
I think it's safe to say that your work, as well as other famous writers, definitely impacted literary works in the future, and possibly even 19th century Russia itself.
I would certainly like to think that. I would say my work is done here. Dostoevsky out!
I guess that's done. This has certainly been an interesting episode. To wrap this up, Tolstoy and Dostoevsky, among other authors of the same period, were very influential to future literature and authors. There's also quite a bit of information about them that isn't very well known, and it clearly came into play with their writings. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. See you soon.